Welcome. I'm live with the Arkansas State Red Wolves Dynasty, and it is the offseason that will take us into our next season as we are now looking ahead to year 6 with the Red Wolves. We've taken down the Sun Belt. We've taken down the American Conference. And now I'm setting my sights on taking down the SEC as our next major challenge. I feel this could be the right time to make a move. We have gone to the college football playoffs now 3 times, but have yet to win a playoff game. The next step for this team is to find a way to win those big games. And I think to do that, we're going to have to play better competition and be used to these styles of games against better opponents so that when the playoffs show up, we're a little more prepared for it. So welcome everybody. Maybe the camera doesn't work in the middle of the screen here when I leave the previous spot I was at. How's everyone doing here? Streaming live on YouTube. How's everyone doing on this Monday afternoon? Here to help you kick off the week, everybody. Can I show the whole slider set including wear and tear? I can. Wear and tear is in a weird spot right now. Basically, where I have it, it's mostly a non-factor. And as you can see, like my settings are very low because I was trying to counter things that were a little too high, and I just don't really have a good balance for it right now. But the gameplay is like outstanding. I love it. Games are so fun to play right now. Cannot wait to get into our next season and see what this year brings. But here are the sliders if you're curious. Thank you, Mike. Happy New Year to you and everybody else here in the chat. How we doing so far in 2026? Honestly, considering turning wear and tear off, I hate seeing the CPU teams get decimated. Yeah, one of the biggest issues is there can be a disconnect between how much wear and tear is applied when you're playing a game versus all the games that end up simmed. So you have to find something that does well for both things when they're very different, which is an annoying obstacle. So this past year was the first year where we had Gerald Ogletree as our quarterback, starting quarterback, and it was a really productive year. I have really liked the direction the offense has gone, and I do think this team has an identity that's separate than my Buffalo dynasty, which it's important for me to find, different ways to be successful with these teams. And with this offense, I think we're a little more, focused on throwing the ball with these 37 passing touchdowns and over 500 total pass attempts. But I have gotten back to making sure the ground game is not an afterthought, the way it was in the previous year. Keontae Ruggins made it very easy. When you have a guy averaging 6 yards a carry who can break tackles and give you double-digit touchdowns, you don't ignore that. Barako Dennybo was very solid this season. And then at receiver, a lot of different skill sets, a lot of different archetypes. Akeem Madden Mackey Award winner should be the favorite to win the Mackey all over again next year. Kane, what are your thoughts on J.J. McCarthy after the season? It was a very rocky year. I think you have to go into next year with at least a better plan B situation because JJ has missed a lot of time. He's only played, I think he's made 10 starts now out of a possible 35, considering they made the playoffs last year. He exited 2 games he started this season, so he's only played 8 start to finish. And, the health is one thing. The on-field play has gotten a lot better. It's been significantly better, but I think for him to iron out the things that he has to do, he needs to be able to play consistently. But until he shows that, you need to make sure there's another option on the team. But I'm still on Team JJ. I like him as a player. I still think there's a lot of upside. He's still going to be 23 going into next season. Kane, y'all want Tanner McKee? I want a little more proven than Tanner McKee. Honestly, my hope is the Raiders, who they made the first move towards doing this. They fired Pete Carroll. I want them to release Geno Smith, and the Vikings sign him for $10 million or under, the way they did Sam Darnold. Because now Geno Smith's stock has tanked, and I don't want to trade for Mac Jones. I don't want to trade for anybody, honestly. The Vikings need those picks to restore a roster that's old, aging, and just had multiple players likely retire. So I want Geno Smith to be released in a Viking. What about a Kirk reunion? If Kirk is cut, and the Falcons also made a coaching change. My favorite safety, Harrison Smith. I know, guys. That might have been it for the old hitman there. That might have been it yesterday. Did not reach the 40-40 club, but man, what a career for Harrison Smith. Need to replace Harrison Smith. Yeah, they could have done it with Kyle Hamilton and then didn't. And then reportedly really liked Xavier Watts, who went to the Falcons like 5 spots before they took Ty Felton. So the chances to get a Notre Dame safety to replace Harrison Smith were right there. Didn't make it happen either time. 40-40, 40 sacks, 40 interceptions. Harrison Smith ends his career, if that's it, with 39 career interceptions. It's a pretty small club. Forget who the members are. We don't talk about the Lewis Scene pick, man. We don't do that, Kenny. The 40 sack, 40 interception club, Rondé Barber was the first to ever do it. There's one more member. Ray Lewis? He had 40-30. Charles Woodson? I could see Woodson. I don't know. You can't Google much and get anything on the main page right anymore because all the AI garbage. Bro, is that a gold Mega Charizard EX behind you? Guys, I recently got back into Pokemon cards a little bit after quite some time away. I found a few packs in the wild. What do you guys think of my friend here? I think I might have gotten 6 packs one day because I got like a tin, couple pack, I think 4 packs. Yeah, mini tin. That's staying right there. While I was Christmas shopping. Yeah, that's probably the coolest thing I've ever pulled in a pack lifetime. So, I guess I'm back into the hobby now, thanks to that. I have started getting some sports cards again. We'll get into the off-season shenanigans here shortly, but the off-season streams always have a little bit more to them. I do have some new sports cards. Nothing as cool as a gold Charizard. I got a few decent ones in the packs I had gotten recently. You know, like this Travis Hunter I like a lot. Got a couple of Cam Wards here. My favorite one I've gotten so far was this Andrew Van Ginkel. Got this Elite Series Mason Graham, but I don't really have any crazy cards, I don't think. Also, I don't really keep up with like what people are chasing and everything. I just got a few boxes. Playoff predictions? Feels like this year has been built on defense, doesn't it? You know, with the Texans and the Broncos, the Seahawks. Like, there are way more high-level defenses than there are offenses. And I think overall that this playoff field is weaker than in most years. Like, if you were to power rank these teams against the 2024 Eagles, that team is so much better than any team, I think, currently. I think the Vikings of last year that got bounced in the first round and didn't even win their division would be like the third or fourth best team this year. Because there are just so many flawed teams, injured teams, teams that stumbled into the postseason. And offense just... This has not been a year of the offense. You know, Jags look really good right now. I think it's an exciting year because it truly does feel wide open. I think Josh Allen finally finds a way to win it all. I mean, I wonder if they don't make it to the Super Bowl, if there's another head coaching opening out there. Literally every team is a fraud until they prove otherwise. In a lot of ways, that's the way it feels. Although, I don't think the Jaguars are a fraud right now. I actually think the Jaguars are really good right now. The Seahawks are really good. It's just their offense isn't as dynamic as it was earlier in the year. The Rams have just stumbled a couple weird times down the stretch, but I still think their offense is probably the one I fear most. And, I mean, they got a two-headed backfield. And Puka Nacua has been the best receiver in the league this season. Every game he's catching a pass he has no business hauling in. K. Pratt, welcome to the channel members. I appreciate that. Also had Rec re-up on that earlier. Texans are my sleeper team based on their defense. If Stroud gets hot, look out. I feel like we haven't seen Stroud really get hot, though, is the thing. I think it's mostly Nico taking over. I'm not going to fear CJ Stroud as much until Tank Dell's out there. And unfortunately, he's suffered way too many injuries in the last couple of years. Yeah, I don't trust the Eagles coaching staff. Like, they have probably the most talented team right now, but the sum of the parts is greater than the whole when it comes to Philadelphia in my eyes. Sam Darnold is winning it all. I can see the Seahawks going all the way. I think, like, power rank the defenses when you talk Seattle, Texans, Broncos. And consider that the Seahawks and the Broncos are number one seeds, meaning they will not play a road game the rest of the way. Two really tough places to go. How do you feel about the sack record being broken? Honestly, I wanted Garrett to get like 27 and just make it unbreakable. Because he was looking like he could do that. But I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see him take it down. Like, one of the most dangerous rushers to leave one-on-one. And he's a one-of-one type of player. Eagles have the best D in the playoffs. They do have a really good defense. They do. I don't know if I have it quite as high as a couple of the others, but they're another team that's, you know, built on their defense right now. And you got teams like the Packers who, because of the Micah Parsons injury, basically cannot be a defensive football team anymore. And they have to just see what their offense can do now as they take on Chicago, who is another mostly offensively focused team, but they do get turnovers. They got a lot of, like 2022 Vikings energy to them, but I do think that they're probably a more trustworthy team in that 2022 Vikings. When was the last time the playoffs felt this open? You know, in the era where you had, you know, Tom Brady making it every year, Drew Brees making it every year. It never felt that open because there was always a quarterback gap. This year, that gap has shrunk to the smallest ever in the playoff field I feel we've seen. Because Josh Allen is Josh Allen, but that offense still, like, they don't have that guy. And I think it caps their ceiling significantly. No Mahomes, no Lamar, no Burrow. So Josh Allen and Matt Stafford are the best quarterbacks, you know, I'd say. I feel this could be a year the Colts could make a push at the midway point, or I felt this could be a year the Colts could make a push at the midway point, but then we finished with the most Colts way possible. Yeah, Sauce Gardner won as many games with the Jets this year as he did the Colts. One each, which is pretty crazy. The Colts were what, 8-1 or 7-1, 8-2? Never imagined they'd finish this way with Phillip Rivers making 3 starts. Not much mention of the Patriots. No, I think that they're the team I tend to, you know, kind of forget about here, but they've been a pretty steady team this year. I still don't know if I think that they're going to stack up in the playoffs the way they did the regular season. I think we're all waiting to see them get some more high-quality wins. But, you know, the quickest way to being able to do that is having a really good quarterback, and Drake May is a top 2 MVP candidate for a reason. I appreciate all the discussions so far, guys. We'll continue intertwining it as we get into the off-season here as well. As much as I love talking NFL and everything, we do have an off-season as well. It's not even that I don't trust New England. It's more so I just don't know that against these teams with elite defenses that they're going to have enough to throw at them. Any coach skills I want to buy before going too far? With 11, I think I'm pretty limited right now. Oh, Mike Vrabel's an excellent coach. That's why they had such a fast turnaround. When you have the coach right and the quarterback right, you know, things seem to find stability. So this was the American Conference this season, and my plan is to ultimately take us into the SEC unless something unforeseen happens. Like if we lose Gerald Ogletree, maybe I reconsider. But in this series now, I do understand it would probably be more realistic to stick around, as it would have been more realistic to stick around in the Sun Belt. But I think here, Gerald Ogletree coming off his freshman season potentially has 3 more years to play. And I love the idea of a 3-year runway in the SEC, where we have a chance to get in, see where we fit in, see where we have to get better, and try to make a couple of runs at the CFP from that conference. And Ogletree, you know, would take us through years 6, 7, and 8. Along with a lot of these really good prospects that have now joined the team, some of whom we haven't even gotten to really see play yet. We'd have, you know, Madden next year entering his junior season. Might not be a player that plays till his senior year, honestly. How many more years for Arkansas State? Right now, I feel very committed to 3 more years, and then we'll see if we still need to do more. Because like I said in many of the past off seasons, I'm not looking to do this series until July and another game comes out. I wanted to end this a little bit earlier so I could work on some other projects. And I'm at least committed to 3 more years with Arkansas State. Maybe 9. But I don't know that I'll go beyond that. Al, thank you for the super chat here, or the membership. Happy New Year. Here's the 2026. Also wasn't sure if I was saying your name correctly. Is it Al Tuff? I think so. That's what makes the most sense to me. Appreciate you. Pac-12 or bust. We need to go up in the level of competition that we're seeing, and ultimately we've played against a lot of SEC teams in this dynasty, and now I think that conference is in an interesting spot because you have your elite teams that compete for titles, but now there's like a few different classes of team there. Here are your best teams. And then you've got more of a middle class in the SEC with South Carolina, Vandy, Kentucky being kind of more your bottom feeders now. And yeah, that's the hope. We don't have a single 5-star recruit in this series. Hoping that moving to the SEC could bring us another level of player. And I've done series in the past where I've moved my teams to the Big Ten or the Big 12 or Big 12 or the ACC. I have actually never done a big dynasty where I've taken that team into the SEC conference. All right, so here's your update then as UCLA tops USC. USC is the team that knocked us out, of course, in round one, a game I just did not get off to a good start in through a horrific interception at one point early in that game. And I think just down the stretch, there were far too many games where I didn't get off to that good start, and it's kind of my focus going into the new year, not having to clean up so many messes. Unfortunately, it became a trend. South Carolina can't recruit in CFB 26. Why is that? What's the deal there? Matt Rule, hired by another team. Matt Rule, was that Temple? Just seeing if anybody was hired away from us. It didn't happen in that first bit of the cycle. And yeah, we're good. Yeah, the championship contender grade would go up a little bit. Being in the American, it's basically the 5th strongest conference, and it satisfies most deal breakers. All right, so if there's any drama to be had in this offseason, I think it's right now. Just with the slight chance that Gerald Ogletree sees this deal breaker happen for the 2nd straight year and decides he wants to at least consider the transfer portal, which would derail my plans in this series because I am not prepared to move on from him. I do not want to move on from him. I want potentially 4 years with Gerald Ogletree, you know, growing and taking us into the SEC era of Arkansas State Dynasty. All right. DeMar Alba, could he declare? I don't think his overall is nearly high enough. Hopefully we get some players drafted so our pro potential grade can go up. But I'm not sure there are a ton of candidates to be drafted. Hopefully Devon Jolly comes back. As far as like bad deal breakers for non-seniors, I don't think there were a lot of bad ones. Pierre Shembo, there's one. You know, I'd love to have his route running on the team next year. There's a chance we lose him, a chance we lose Ogletree. But I suppose it is time. Ooh, we might lose on Lorenzo Riggs because he wanted playing time and I decided to redshirt him, so he didn't play. That might have backfired on me. All right, guys, let's take a look. Players leaving. And Steven Katula choosing the transfer. He appears to be the only player entering the portal. This is a bribe. This is to bribe Ogletree to stay. Thank you, Jacob. That might have been the difference right there. Just one. Just one player, and not a player I'm all that concerned with bringing back. Here are what other teams are dealing with. Ooh, Akron. That's tough. A lot of them here at App State. After going 7-6. Arkansas losing 2 to the portal. Auburn has a lot of players projected to get drafted. I think only 1 transferring. Florida has a few receivers going first, second, third round. Georgia, a few transfers in there at quarterback. Ooh. Now they're losing a little bit there. LSU has 4, including a 90 overall quarterback. That seems pretty significant. Rice is a 5-star freshman safety. I wonder if he transferred. Rice. They're losing a bunch of guys to the portal, that's for sure. Could it be James Ramirez? Good call. Man, Rice is losing a ton of their best players. That's got to be him. Would love to make a push. All right, so Arkansas State is not losing much. And we are prepared to make our move to the SEC. I am not going to convince Stephen Katula to stay. I think we're okay with our running back depth. And I'll take the roster spot. With 11 coach points, I've kind of wanted to get to 12. I already have the QB offseason training boost. I was hoping to buy this ahead of the offseason. Turns out I didn't need it. So is there anything else I want to spend these points on before we get to the offseason? I can't get to the transfer bonus on most of these yet. I would need 16 points to get there. I do have it for O-line, DBs, and linebackers. So I'm not sure anything needs to really be bought right now. I'm actually really excited for there to be no more real players after this year. I do think it's fun when a dynasty gets to that point and the universe is all new. Yeah, the quarterback development is always something I thought about. I just don't have much more I can do. I already have tier 3 here on passing game. I forget when I bought that. It might have been after he developed last year. So I'm probably just holding these points for now. I did think about taking this team independent, but it's just kind of like a buzzkill to not have a conference championship game to compete in. And I want those higher pressure games, and I want more on the line, higher stakes. Yeah, I'll get more XP when the class is done. It's just, I can't do much that's going to boost like our transfer portal chances or anything. A little surprised Shembo didn't transfer because the risk was high and he's a good player. Glad he's sticking around. And here are the draft results now. We had no draft picks None? Really? Note Boom couldn't get a 7th round flyer? Note Boom doesn't get drafted. Jaden Edwards doesn't. Braylon Wortham doesn't get drafted. Come on, that's wild. Multiple first rounders in the CFL though, yeah. So that's going to keep Pro Potential one of our worst grades then. And one of the deal breakers we have to probably pass on most of the time. We should get a lot more draft picks next season. But it's not going to help us right here, right now. All right, so I got a little bit more to do with high school recruits. We got Nico Gooch, Nick Florence, Rocky May. That one's more one-sided. And then deal breaker, mess here, Pro Potential at an F for Gio Carney. Ahmad Killings, I really want to bring in. I know I'm going to put some of these points here. By the way, what's we have a lot of points right now. We are a 3.5-star program for those keeping track. Academics is one of our worst things. Campus lifestyle, stadium atmosphere. Pro Potential is in general not very good. It is graded position by position. We did get a quarterback drafted, so just one gives us a B- there. But if you have no track record of sending guys to the pros, then you're getting a pretty bad grade in most cases. So it is actually okay on like defense, for instance. Yeah, unfortunately, overall ranking has too much to do with where they go. You know, production needs to matter more when it comes to drafting and everything like that. Awards, athleticism, I totally agree with that. These games are at their best when they're not just predictable based off of 1 or 2 data points. Then it starts to get a little, you know, just uninteresting in those departments. So I'm going to clean up some of the board right now. I had a couple athletes here that may stay on just because I have room. But yeah, I had found some athletes and a quarterback late in one of the previous parts. So I'm just going to throw 25 on Killings and Rattler. Might have to be a little bit more aggressive if I want Ozigbo. I liked him, but I liked Killings more. And this battle is one that is competitive. I'll have to take a look at the roster and we'll see what the targets are going to be then when it comes to the transfer portal. Let me just back out. I'm going to try to get a 5-star next season. There will be some on the board. I've never had one that has shown top 5 interest, or did that happen last year? Either way, I haven't gotten one, and the battles have never gone very far. Wouldn't be the worst idea to have like a QB2, but it's not a high priority. I think running back's fine. Receiver is certainly fine. Tight end is good. We're returning at least 3 offensive linemen. Doesn't take our seniors off the board yet. But if there is like a complete center or guard. I'll have to consider it. D-line is the biggest concern because we are losing Tylon Lee. Somehow didn't lose Lorenzo Riggs. He should actually be back and can play. But otherwise, we're losing the top 4 defensive linemen that played last year. Brazil's going to step in at D-tackle. We know that. But D-tackle and edge are like huge needs, especially moving to the SEC. We cannot be weak in the trenches, handing teams a weakness there. Could be really bad for us. I think we have a lot of good linebackers that should develop, so I'm not worried about all that we're losing. It would take a really good linebacker for me to be interested. I think we should look at corners, though, because we don't have a lot of high developments, as you can see on the right side of the screen, and we're going to be jumping up in competition. So a lot of stuff on defense. I agree with the defensive tackle run stuffer. If we could get Samu Tamanu Pepe to somehow sue the NCAA and get eligibility to come back and play one more year, that's like best case scenario. If the move to the SEC is happening, what would your second protected opponent be other than Arkansas? I'm not sure I'd have one to protect yet. I could protect Arkansas, but then just let the rest be until there's like a team that stands out, I guess, as a rival. What'll be nice, though, is now I think I'm not going to have to schedule SEC for non-conference. I can be a little bit more creative with our non-conference schedule. And hopefully ULM isn't on there this year. Yeah, you're going to need speed to go into the SEC. The S stands for speed. And I think that when we get into those big games against the USCs and everything, like, we feel not slow, but we no longer feel like we have the athletic advantage. Yep, we're going to the SEC now. I think you can lock that in. We have our quarterback, and I like the idea of a 3-year window to get in, see where we fit, and then grow over the course of 3 years to try to chase a title while we likely have Gerald Ogletree and some of our core together for that time. Here is the transfer portal, y'all. Got a 4-star cornerback who's very interested. Let's how many 5 stars are there? 1. Alexander Hills from LSU. At 4, defensive tackle. We have to try, right? I'll pull up stats there on the right side. The transfer portal being crazy in this game reduced the chance of giving out the Jamari Akinjide Award for players staying in school too long. Yeah, the portal's pretty crazy in this game. I think it's a little bit crazier in real life, and I've toned it down a lot, too, because it was getting pretty wild there for a little bit. Niles Macklin. I'm going to put him on the board, but we'll see if he ends up being a priority. I just have so many points that I know I can do some extra scouting in a few cases. Wisconsin lineman on the board. All right, what do you got for edge rushers? Gerald Moulds, who had 7 sacks last season. Joey Tolbert, Darren Lincoln. We're going to put 3 edges there on the board. At defensive tackle, there's only 2 4-stars, so man, I hope we can compete for Wade Sabri. 5 sacks, power rusher. 5 sacks, speed rusher. 7 sacks, gap specialist. So we got Dugans on the board, and I might add Not sure how valuable the stats are here as a data point, but I'm using it. I'm going to put Anthony Hook on the board. Although, yeah, you're a sophomore. So I'm going to prioritize Jared Mafe. Don't know. Corner. I already have 2 targets. Let's also throw Paul Burns on the board here. 6 interceptions last year. How about safety? Can't get a 4 at free. I can't go after James Ramirez, guys, unfortunately. My board's full, that's why. All right, so I'm going to take off a couple guys here. Because I want to see if I can get that Rice safety. I still can't put him on the board. What's your deal breaker? Playing style, unfortunately. All right, so let's get to some scouting here. No kicker in the portal? I don't even know if they enter the transfer portal, but also our kicker is young. I'm not looking to make any sort of change there. All right. Allow me to at least sort this a little bit by position. Just makes it a little bit easier for me. Got a lot of D tackles here. Not sure I have enough offensive linemen. I might have to go add a couple more. Can't just rely on one guy. Wait, I have a bunch of D tackles. I'm thinking offensive line. My bad. I just glitched out a little bit. That was weird. 891 downs played, 2 sacks allowed. Ooh. All right. I got 2 more guards on the board. If you're enjoying the stream, please leave a like. That could be very helpful. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I always set the chat here on stream to, you can only chat if you've been subscribed for at least 5 minutes. And doing that, I think, has mostly neutralized, like, the bot concern. But it does make it so those new can't participate unless they subscribe. Center? Yeah, I know we have a couple guys graduating. Let me just see how it all looks there. Yeah, we're losing Norton and Edwards, and then I won't have one unless I move somebody. And I do have a lot of guards. And I might have some guys that are a fit at center. Can I access my depth chart in this stage? I can. What does it think about overalls at center then? Elias Butt might have to be that guy. Or you can move like someone else. Be nicer to have a true center though. All right, let's get back in there and do some scouting. And pro potential on Gio Carney. That might just be a bad... But if Alba gets drafted, then we might meet his deal breaker is the thing. But then Alba wouldn't get drafted until Carney makes his decision. All right, so I'm sure as I scout some of these players, I'll be able to remove somebody. So let's start here with the guards. Jimmy Mangum from Green Bay. We may have to turn him into a Vikings fan for him to be a true fit on this team. It might take a little effort, but I do believe that we can make it happen. Got some nasty run blockers here, man. This is fun, scouting some of these guys that enter the portal. But Keenan Ezzy definitely has the best pass blocking, and I think Mangum might be my least favorite because his pass pro is just so concerning against finesse. I really like Rourke and Ezzy. All right, corner. We're looking for guys. I don't think 86 speed plays in the SEC, man. 89 with 99 change of direction. You're kind of pushing it there with 89 speed, but that ain't bad. That's SEC speed right there. Emmett Paul. We're going to hand out a scholarship there. Ooh. I think we're going to hand one out to Kevin Grubb. Now, I have a lot of D tackles. A few different roles we're looking for. Definitely a run stopper. Wade Sabri was the 4-star, so we're going to definitely offer, but no, that one could be tough. Here we've got more of a finesse rushing skill set, but only 65 speed. Can he close on the quarterback with that speed, is my question. 65 here again. 87 finesse, though, 95 strength. Anthony Hook still has a lot to like there. 77 speed, 89 finesse. Going to have to give him a scholarship because that speed at D tackle. Don't overlook it. Oh, yeah, Gerald Molds. We like that. Joey Tolbert. 79 and 79, but he's going to be going into his junior season, so there's still some upside with him. 95 finesse moves. You're also looking for standout skills. Not just being good, but look at those platinum abilities in there. Like, the abilities are not as common for these other players. We absolutely have to go for Darren Lincoln as one of the best available players. Look at 4-star with first interest from Ole Miss. What position we talking, Jacob? We know Darren Lincoln is going to be one of our absolute top priorities. And he's only going into his junior season, so #1 on my transfer portal board. I have to get Mangum. Before I entertain that, are you a Packer fan? Is strong grip that ability? Is that the difference there? Because I do think when you're talking about just good players versus good players, like abilities are kind of a separator. He's a freshman. Oh, he's a young gun, huh? He is. With strong grip. Okay. Okay. I'm a Raiders guy. Well, congratulations. You will not have to wait long to hear your draft pick in April. Who do you guys think is a good fit for the Raiders head coach job? You know, there have been a lot over the years. They've tried many things. Andy Reid. Wow. Signetti. You guys bringing the heat here on a Monday afternoon. I got 3 picks for Curt Signetti right now. Y'all are hilarious. They should try Antonio Pierce again. Chargers fan. John Harbaugh will be available soon, you think? Longest tenured coach, I believe, in the NFL. I do think it's time for a split there. They have just lost so many big games, and for a while, I didn't really see what Ravens fans were angry about. But eventually, I saw this team just has hit a ceiling, and they've been banging their head into it for like 5 years. And they just can't get any better than they currently are. And they've actually gotten worse. Brian Flores and Daboll as OC. Yeah, I mean, I think Brian Flores absolutely should be a head coach. But I selfishly would love to see him continue to be DC with the Vikings. I do think that if Brian Flores goes somewhere, and I do think he should have interest, I'd be really happy if the Vikings got Raheem Morris as their DC. And given he's like a guy who's had a couple head coaching jobs, I don't know if he'd really be a guy teams look around at again. But I think he was on the Rams staff when they won the Super Bowl along with KOC. And I think he'd be an awesome Flores replacement if he's gone. He's a left tackle. Go get him. All right, Jacob, we'll take a look. I could use another tackle. Would not hurt. So let me clear open a tiny bit of space on the board. Going to pass here on Boye. I think I scouted everybody else. You want me to look at a 4-star tackle from Ole Mississippi? I think Stefanski gets signed on pretty quick, or at least we hear about interviews pretty quick with him. Oh, we're first on his board. Rashad Carver. What's your year? Okay, you're entering a senior season. Let's scout him. He did allow a few sacks last year, but the pass blocking, all right. The finesse stuff is pretty good. His ratings are like Nick Christmas in my Pittsburgh Steelers franchise over on the second channel. What a series that is, guys. As a Vikings fan, or as a Seahawks fan, we really appreciate your Vikings helping us become a #1 seed. You're welcome. Enjoy the quarterback. Enjoy shutting us out in Seattle. Did it all for you. We've been calling you Vikings West for a reason. Yeah, there is some good pass pro in there. I'll probably offer a scholarship. I mean, there's a chance he ends up being the best tackle on the roster next season. So I got 445 points now to chase players. So Jimmy Mangum. Let's see. I can for sure get 8 more players with 50. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I can pretty much max out my scholarship guys. And I could probably go take 5 points off of somebody towards the top of my board. Because I just throw 25 on anybody there that I'm still chasing. So I should ascend the house on all the targets. I did not get to scout Macklin yet. I just didn't have the points. Knowing I need so many to send the house. So I can probably remove some from Adrian Rattler. I'm just going to throw a 10. I'm just going to be in the DMs like, hey, you made your decision yet? No one else is offered. What could you possibly be waiting for? I know you're on your phone. Why won't you answer me? Yeah, we're going to the SEC. We're going to the SEC this year. It is time, and I think that that's where we're going to figure out the rest that we need to figure out to become that upper tier team. All right, Niles Macklin. I need, if you're a speedster and you got anything under a 90 speed, I'm changing your archetype to possession receiver. 96 is pretty fast. 95 spec catch. Niles Macklin could be our Braylon Staley. Holy Odell Jr. If you're calling him Odell Jr., I can't simply just put 5 on there. But where do these other points come from then? Is there anybody I'm willing to downgrade on? I'll split on Carver. 25 here, 30 here. I already cut the slow cornerback off. Been watching your videos for years. Hello from Mankato, Minnesota. Where Adam Thielen went to school at Minnesota State, Mankato. Who is better, Michael Wilson or Marvin Harrison? That is a loaded question to ask right now at this moment in time. Like, obviously, Michael Wilson had the better... Michael Wilson had a tremendous year. That's all the Cardinals have been. You know, when I got Red Zone on one of my screens every Sunday, if they go to a Cardinal game, it's to show what Michael Wilson just did. Michael Wilson was a fantasy football league winner, which is probably why I didn't win. All right. We got 1 week down. Ooh, and they got a visit lined up. Can I visit again? No. Well, I think I'm probably toast in this battle, guys. Because they got an off-season visit lined up with Nico Gooch. Michigan's got one for Nick Florence. That might be it for me. Rocky May's still there. We're good there. We're good there. Might even get Miles Ozigbo. I'm cool with that. I feel like I might have to actually end up cutting a couple players this year. Okay, it's going to be competitive here for Niles Macklin. The SEC knows what he's all about. Jimmy Mangum and other Midwest teams are trying to get the Wisconsin native. Ahmad Rourke puts Notre Dame way atop his list. All right, first for Keenan Ezzy. Second for Rashad Carver at 25 points. Okay, I think I've lost that one. Paul Burns. Emmett Paul puts us number 1. Ooh, that looks like a lot of work. Okay, we're probably out there. Wade Sabri. Locked out here for Dugans and for Anthony Hook, unfortunately. Joey Tolbert locked us out. Man, this is a really tough portal. And part of why I wanted to shrink the portal overall is so there'd be more competition per player. Because I found the portal to be way too easy in Buffalo in the early years of this series. This feels tough. Tougher. Who's going to be this year's Akeem Madden? Someone you add last second that's a stud? Dude, I could have easily just never found Akeem Madden. No one would have thought anything different. But, like, what do we do last year if we never had Akeem Madden? So I only have 1 unlocked for Wade Sabri. I don't know his pitches yet. I'm going to have to do probably a defensive visit, maybe 2 of them. I can do a complimentary visit here. Do guards and receivers work together? I'm going to pull points here. I think I'm going to need them. Maybe I can put Florence into a visit too. Although, if they had to visit here in week 2, I think I'm probably done here. Like, Michigan's going to win this if their visit's first. Add a quarterback just for the visit with Macklin. But they got to be top 5. So maybe I can have Ozigbo on the visit. Yeah. I mean, maybe here, could I hope that they don't make it complimentary and that they just don't make it to the next stage? So I got to decide here. It's week 2. Oh, the guards are just really good, and I think that we have some intriguing ones, but just unsure of how they're going to develop overall. Here are the offensive linemen. Actually, why don't we just sort by some of the ratings here so we can get all the positions showing up at once? Although this way is kind of messy. Pass protection, Randy Haslam, Nathan Soliday. Those are the standout guys. They're both tackles. And then Elias Butt is next. Nate Montague. Marvin Standiford. Definitely need some better pass protectors overall. I think that showed up last year. Standiford's run blocking really stands out, so he might end up being a potential starter next season. Haslam's also one of our better run blockers, so I think Randy Haslam is for sure one of our starting tackles. Josh Casa could be the other. You know, he's a freshman going into a sophomore season, so hopefully we get some good dev there. And then the guards are just there, you know, to try to give us other options to see who ends up being the best. I don't really use a fullback here in this game. I use them a lot more in Madden. I kind of just take the template of the offense that the team has when I take them over and just kind of develop it a little bit from there. I don't really overhaul it as much, and it's just been very college-y the last couple of years, not very pro style at all, which is why pretty much our entire offense is run out of the shotgun outside of some short yardage. Three-star freshman from big schools. Yeah, that's the fun way to stuff the bottom of the roster and potentially end up with breakout players. So I have 2 offensive players for sure we can get visits lined up with. I want to see if there are any centers. The state of Wisconsin comes through again. Keon Roby from Troy. All right, so there are 2 centers for the board. I let Iowa get a pretty nice lead, though. Let's see if I want to be aggressive in trying to get back into this. .66 pass block, but 92 pass block power, 70 pass block finesse. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. I trust these ratings a lot more. Roland Emery doesn't have an offer yet. That's weird. So what visit do I want to do here? I don't have enough players in my top 5 for defense, so it's not going to be this week. If I want to do offense, I could have Ezzy, Macklin, and the quarterback up top here, Ozigbo. So let's start there. I'm going to make this one 50. Championship contender. And then the tackle that we're in first place for, it won't be complimentary? I'm still doing it for the points. But this might be one of the keys here, is Miles Ozigbo making it at least somewhat complimentary. Yeah, meet alumni. Arkansas State alumni. Who is Miles Ozigbo meeting up with? J.D. McKissick? Demario Davis? Duncan Grant? You guys see that Jalen Rayner transferred in real life as well? I think Iowa State got him. What's your favorite non-sports series you've done on here? Man, it's been a while since I've done a non-sports series on either of the channels. My favorite one would have to be Season 1 of The Walking Dead, streamed live. I had never played a game like that. That was my introduction to Telltale. I will never forget streaming episode 2 with y'all. At least a couple of you had to have been there in 2012. Dude, that chapter 2 of season 1 was crazy. For a new idea of content, maybe go back to some of the year 3, 4, or 5 saves and go to a different team and perhaps try to rebuild them or just something fun with that universe. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I know I have a lot of saves. I just don't know. I don't always have a new one for every year. But, you know, it was kind of brought up in one of my recent streams a couple weeks ago. I was just looking for strictly, what do you want to see that's not already coming to the channel? And one was to kind of go back to series that we never won a championship in and see if we can, rewrite the ending there. Series like the Bears franchise, the Saints franchise most recently on Madden 24, the Rockies franchise on MLB. Maybe one day. So you're telling me this game can predict the future. There was a time where Season 1 of my Madden franchises correctly predicted the Super Bowl winner, I think, 3 or 4 years in a row. it was kind of wild. I can't say our hit rate is high, but there are times where things line up. The Rockies franchise is probably the one I'd really want to do more with because the Dodgers just deserve to be beaten by that team. But also, my Saints are probably the best team to never win a title. That last year I did with Anthony Richardson, guys, I was just having the time of my life playing with that offense. It was crazy. I want to play again with Jacoby Pearman. Who's your gadget player, and can we see more wildcat or trick plays? Our gadget's Keontae Bargava. We have a couple different gadget plays where he can throw. I think I would definitely, like, if we go to the SEC and he's like our best athlete we can stick in the backfield, I'd probably do it more often. Lamar Sperling in the transfer portal. That's not what my series wanted to happen. That's not how this story was meant to be played out, guys. Now, do I want to start setting up some visits in advance? Just so I don't miss out. Week 3. Do I think I can get enough to top 5 in my next stage to get there? I would think so. And I don't want other teams to beat me to the punch. But I guess the only one I could schedule it for is Wade Sabri. So let's go week 3. And we'll pitch him on playing time. It's always the last one. And with all these points, we should take advantage to do more scouting. So let me shrink the board a little bit with guys we're not considering now. I think Marvin Camelot looks fine. I have a lot of depth there. I'm going to have to remove Nico Gooch, as heartbreaking as that is. We're going to drop Roby here. We're going to drop Kevin Grubb. So I think we're definitely looking for like 0 offer players. I'm not sure there'll be many 4-stars that fit into that we can actually go for. Yeah. There would be 4, but none can be put on our board. What about high 3s? There usually are a bunch. Linebacker, halfback. Let's see if there are any freshmen. Wide receiver, gadget, Kenneth Agood. Junior. Sophomores are also interesting. Can we look at secondary help? I mean, I got a few options on the board. I have points on 1 corner. Oh, yeah, I guess a lot of those didn't work out. All right, what's left in that cornerback? Let's make cornerback kind of the focus. So many moving parts here in the offseason. I need y'all sometimes. A lot of times. At least we're in first for Emmett Paul. So I probably can't look at any more 4s. James Lincoln. Did I scout him? Was he the slower corner? 5'8", 211. You're built like a running back. No? All right, then I'm putting James Lincoln on the board. I got a little bit more room. There's 3. Now what's left at safeties? Does this game do athlete corners? Huh. Good question. Are cornerbacks often like listed as like, or are athletes often listed as like cornerback preferred? I feel like I haven't seen that much. My options at safety. Oh, I have a full board again. No, they're under receiver. Yeah, I felt like the athletes are really skewed to the offensive side. A lot of offensive line athletes are much better at D line. Like when you're that athletic, you're going to grade out crazy at defensive tackle. Yeah, Kenneth Agood looks like a very solid receiver who also has 82 throw power. Do they always list throw power at receiver? I feel like I've never noticed that. No. What was his archetype? Gadget. Okay, for gadgets. Got it. I love the gadget archetype. I'm glad they added that. Okay, safety. Oh, really good movement, though. That movement's crazy. Cornerback. Good press. A little small, a little slow. All right, so I think I got to have a little interest here in Khaled Wilkins. Like a really good slot fit. Wish his tackling was a little bit higher. So we're going to throw him up here with Paul. Freshman, free safety, USC. I got to make room. Oh, yeah, 85 acceleration, too, with that, man. That's no good. Who am I looking at here? I'm needing a freshman safety from USC. Josh Ferraro, box specialist, while being undersized. Well, he can tackle. I have a lot of box specialist guys already on roster. I don't think he'll make the cut. But always good to check on freshmen coming out of those big schools. So 120 points. Definitely interested in Dontre Guyon. I mean, you're talking 84 zone as a freshman, 3-star. And I don't have another safety target, so he's kind of it. Did I offer a scholarship to everybody that needs it? I think so. I'm pretty busy in the portal right now. And then I like these other 2 players. I just don't think they're huge priorities. But you know what? We can find room for Kenneth Agood. Go 25 there. Warren Kugbila. I don't know yet. 35 points remaining. So I'm maxed out here on Florence. I'm still kind of holding out that maybe the visit won't... I'm probably losing this. And then visits set up there, visits set up there, and there. Those are the only ones I can do, and I have 35 more points. Gotta find another guy. Some of you still want me to go get the safety from USC back. Ferraro. What if we try a different safety from West Virginia? Anthony Sermon. 62 awareness, 63 tackling, 90 speed, 85 man, 78 zone. That's not bad. Just the change of direction and acceleration are a little stiff. But 85 man as a freshman safety. A little more intrigue there with Sermon. All right. That's 2 weeks down. Any new players? No. And we lose out on Nick Florence. We lost. Creates a spot on our board at least. Oh. 2 new offers for a 3-star? That doesn't usually happen in stage 3. Is there something here? I mean, I've liked the ratings and everything. I like the athleticism. Interesting. What did they just learn? To the top we go for Niles Macklin, but Arkansas, guys, gets him on a week 3 visit. Roland Emery, number 1. Get a little bit closer here for Jimmy Mangum. Still in 5th, or we fall for Ahmad Rourke. Leading for Keenan Ezzy. For Carver, we're into the mix. Top for Emmett Paul. Ooh, Wilkins puts us at number 1. Guyon puts us at number 1. We should be able to do a pretty complimentary visit, but I think we're going to be probably locked out here unless we can get above, what is that, Houston? Or what is that one? In 3rd there. I don't even know what that logo is off top. Darren Lincoln. Oh, that was Utah's? Okay. 30 points from New Jersey. Is it really that far away? Championship contender. Come on, man. I really want Darren Lincoln, man. He would be so fun. All right, so we're setting up visits now. Week 3 has 1 currently, and that is on defense. Or 2 currently. Ooh, this would be competitive. So we're going to set up a week 4 for Gerald Moulds. Championship contender again. So we're going to try to split it up a little bit. I got a bunch of guys here. Oh, I can't visit with him yet, unfortunately. Neither one ends up being complimentary here with him at Paul. Fix my hard sells. Yeah, I got to start going for hard sells now that it's been cut down. So there's a little bit of cleanup to do here. And sometimes you got to play the guessing game. But if we can get some good luck here. Championship contender, conference prestige. It could be that one. Also could be that one. We would hope it is. Can't do it here. It starts to get easier once you get to this stage. Championship contender is all we got plus all we don't know. Yeah, it is an option to do the double soft sell. I don't usually do it because it's like so competitive. I feel like I have to be perfect just to win. But sometimes you got to double. Like, what do you think here? If I'm right, I'd probably win the battle. I need championship contender in it. We'll do a double soft. Because then you're guaranteed that 30 points are helping, and then the one you're wrong on still has at least one thing that's right. So it might not be a bad option. And Arkansas is our main competition here. They're going to get a boost from their visit, but they're coming back from further away. So I think I'll go double soft. If it was a team right behind us with a visit, I might be more tempted to just hope I'm right to fend them off. So we'll double soft this time. I'll give it a shot this offseason. Did I miss hard selling in week 2? I think sometimes I get concentrated too much on the visits and I forgot I got to do hard sells at the same time. Standard bearer is wrong. Did I pick a wrong one there? Could be that one. How do we know it's not standard bearer? Championship. Oh, because that's to include championship contender. Okay. So it could be that one. Aspirational goals has it. So we know in both cases we're getting 2 right minimum. We're going to get 5 out of 6 right. Guaranteed. Championship contender is his. And we've got a shot for Mangum. We got Coach Prestige. And that's all we know so far. Thank you for the super chat, Adam. I'm not sure what your message is referring to, but appreciate you being here on the stream. Jimmy Mangum, he ain't going to want academics, is he? We're going to hope not. This is also a spot where, like, even though we're in the top 5, it's like, it's just not narrowed down enough. So is it even worth it to sell yet? I, like, never have a player who focuses on academics, so I'm just not doing that one. Could be that one. Like, there are still too many. It's not narrowed down enough. So what do you do in that, what do you do in that situation? I tend to not sell until I can narrow it down further. It's not often your top 3 with that little information. Send the house. You know, send the house seems to be like a status quo, like we're getting the same progress as them. Give me send the house plus a visit. That way we're up on the week. And if I have Rashad Carver on a visit, then it's going to be even better. There. All right. Ahmad Rourke. He's top 5. Yeah, it's just not narrowed down enough. I'm not going to do it when I only have that little information. I'm just going to keep sending the house at him. Yeah, I'm going to go 50 now. I have plenty of points to cover Carver. Paul, conference prestige and championship contender. At least we got 2. So we're looking at a possibility of... This one could be it. That one could be it. Or that one. So it's 1 of 3. I think I'll just send the house and schedule a week 4 visit for him. Championship contender. Can't do it there. Can't do it there. And I have nothing other than playing time on him. But this is a situation here where I know I have to pull off a comeback. And so I kind of have to throw a Hail Mary if I want to get Wade Sabri. I can't just send the house and lose. I think I got to go for it. Has to include playing time. Could be campus personality. Could be football influencer. I doubt it. I might just go with the clutch. Or clocked in. Because at least it fits really good stuff for us. Clocked in or the clutch for a D tackle. He's transferring. Okay, let's keep that in mind. He's transferring. Why is he transferring? I guess playing time was why. So that doesn't help us. Clutch. We're going clutch. I want a clutch D tackle. All right, Jared Maffei. We got 2, so we should be okay. Pro potential. We actually have all 3. This is like the only guy we have all 3 on right now. Bang. And we can set up a visit if we need to. Proximity to home, championship contender. I think we'll have this one. Hopefully it's that one. We got it. And that's big as we fall into third place on this week. For Darren Lincoln, conference prestige, championship contender. We are trying to fight our way up. So, man, if we can nail it right now, it could be aspirational goals. Status seeker. Like, it never ends up being status seeker. Sunday player, though, it could be that. But it also could be gamer. Standard bearer. It's still too far. I think that the visit can close the gap. Next week, I'm going to have to go for it, though. Championship. Okay, let me double check this. Has to have championship contender. All right, so Sunday player is a possibility. Aspirational goals. Okay, so we could double soft this one. Or double 20, whatever. And then we would be able to go for it in the final week. Really hope it's that one. All right. So now we're going to send the house on Sermon. We can send the house on a Good. And I think I got most of this sorted out then. Might have a few more aspirational goals. Did I screw it up again? Yeah, that doesn't have conference or championship contender. It's never standard bearer. It's never been standard bearer. We got Sunday player. Just include their deal breaker on this graphic, and I'll stop screwing this up so many times. Aspirational goals. We got more information on Paul. Conference prestige and championship contender. A lot of the same ones, guys. Aspirational goals. Conference legend is available. Yeah, we can do it that way. Sure, we'll double. Okay. I think now we just have to make sure everybody has a visit covered. Can't do one here. All right, so yours was week 2. We got 1 and 3, 2 and 3, 1 and 4, 3 and 3, 2 and 4, 4 and 3, So can I do any more in week 3? I can't do any more this week. 4 is the limit. So then I have an edge in 4 plus a corner. A 3-star run stopper is our final target. We have the points to chase that. I think that can be often overlooked because if they have lower pass rushing skills, they're probably not going to reach the 4-star threshold, but they can be like an elite run stopper while being a 3-star. Steve Monty, gap specialist, freshman. '79 block shed isn't elite. 86 strength. I mean, he's a freshman, so he's going to develop from here. So that's definitely not bad. And, you know, I'm not going to do much better than the 357 rated player. What do you think? Scholarship or try again and hope for better strength? I'll look for one more. One more guy, because I would like a tiny bit more strength if it's possible. I want Charlie Durbin, power rusher. He's a junior. I don't think that's going to be our solution. So we're going to stick with Monty. But yeah, I still have some points, so I will make sure that we scout, you know, additional players. All right, what's left? Can I search for freshmen only? That's a no. Mafe, a week 4 visit. Does he need it? Yeah. We're going to catch Virginia. And we got it complimentary, so we will schedule that. And see if there's anything else we can scout. Because, man, I have filled this board. I don't think I can remove anybody right now. So we're going to scout one player at a time. And hopefully we just find one guy. Man. We haven't looked at all at running back. Freshman 0, Percy Callow. Elusive bruisers are always slow. But what if he's, like, not? $90 at elusive bruiser. Or it's contact seekers that are always slow. Always slow. Can't catch the ball, not going to make you miss. But a little speed, a little broken tackle. He's not slow. Percy Callow? Where is Catula going? We could find out. This could be Catula's replacement right here. Catula's got 4 offers? What do they know? Well, we'll see where he ends up. All right. Yeah, that's a freshman running back that we'll stash. All right. We advanced. Final week of recruiting, everybody. VT offered. Mizzou is out on Miles Ozigbo. If we want him, we got to maybe put a little effort in. I wouldn't mind, it's just like the mystery box of quarterback development. He might not become anything, but like quarterbacks move so much in Dynasty. I think you need to prioritize a little bit of depth there, and I probably don't need the points for much else at this point. So here's where we sit as Sabri has picked USC. We're out. All right, Macklin. Oh, we're going to lose to Ole Miss. Right at the buzzer. Conference legend, is it? We're going to lose at the very end, aren't we? Roland Emery, still only one offer, so I'm not going to put a visit on there. We're probably losing this one. OU's got a visit for Keenan Ezzy. Yeah, we're basically out here. We're into first for Mangum. Doesn't have a week 4 visit. And we should now be able to sell. Possibly. Coach Prestige. Yeah, we got that one. So we don't think it's going to be college experience or student of the game. It's just not very common. Status seeker as a guard. Can't see it. It could be standard. No, it could not. It's never standard bearer. Dude, where is one that makes sense? Is it? Okay. It actually has to be one of those two. How's the D-line going to look in SEC play? Well, considering our entire defensive line from last year graduated, I'm a little worried. Outside of Jeffrey Brazil, primarily. So, is it really coach connection? That'd just be so different. Are you sure you're not really wanting conference legend? It's got to be one of those two. So I'm saying it's coach connection. Either way, I got 2 right. All right. Ahmad Rourke, 4th place. And a guaranteed C+ on one of these. Feel good about getting Mangum, though. Love the content, Kane. I love the more difficult transfer portal and the realism you bring to your franchises. Best fake football content anywhere. Appreciate that. The more difficult transfer portal, I'm not sure if my sliders are why it got that way in the past 2 off seasons, but I do find it more interesting, even if this stage now takes even longer. I could potentially have him visit, but I don't even know what his other... I could do a championship contender. We'll see if he's a priority, because I can only fit in like 1 or 2 more visits. Remember Ahmad Rourke. All right, Rashad Carver. We got 2 out of 3. Please tell me we can narrow this down. Aspirational goals is what we want. But it could also be status seeker. It usually isn't. All right, I'm going aspirational goals. For Emmett Paul, #1 at cornerback, and we have a visit this week. That's huge. And bang, conference legend it is. I can probably get behind the double soft angle here. Because even though you're guaranteeing one of the pitches is wrong, you have so much right, plus you get the answer. Gonna need this one to flip here, guys. The week 4 visit with perfect hard sell. We'll see about Gerald Molds. Darren Lincoln, we're up, but Pitt now has a visit, and Ohio State's there. Aspirational goals. He's so good, I can't take him off the board. But I don't think I'm winning it. All right, so Rourke was the player then that I think gets a week 4 visit. Championship contender is his. I'm pulling out of this battle. I think Ole Miss is taking Macklin, but I don't know. Hard sell Rourke. Brand exposure. Championship contender. House call? Or primetime player? We're going to go house call, because if it's primetime player, that's an F grade for us anyway. Not even going to bother. I'm intrigued by going to the SEC, but also what about a ramp-up year where you try to repeat in the American and have a majority of your non-conference games be SEC if possible? Yeah, I think that's one way to do it. I just don't know that our schedule ends up having nearly enough of those tough games, especially because they're usually stacked early in the season. Like, if I think about what I think gets us more ready to win a championship, I think it's just going to the SEC. You know, we can probably join and be a middle-of-the-pack team on paper, which I think is a really good place for us to enter and why we didn't do it sooner. And I think after having a perfect season last year in the American, it's a lot more interesting to see us take on a new challenge rather than repeat one that we've already won. I just don't see, like, if we go back to the American, everyone's just going to wait to see if we make the CFP to see if we make progress, because that's the only next step we could take. And if this portal plays out well, yeah, it would fill in a lot of gaps. Make our roster much better. All right. I put 25 there. I might be willing to go with 50. Whoops. I've never done a military academy. It's one of those things I've never really tried in a series, so I'd definitely be interested in keeping the option identity, and I think it'd be a fun challenge. All right. Just taking a look. Ahmad Stuber. Whoops. Tar Heels way out in front there. Don't think it's worth looking at any more 4s, but there's a lot in the 3s that is usually intriguing. 0 offers as freshmen. We had Kugbila on the board already. Edge setter at 6'5", 228 from Utah. Got a couple edge rushers here. Let's scout them quick. This edge setter one just doesn't seem to be very good. It's like run defense, defensive ends that weigh 230 pounds. Just kind of weird. All right, next. Man, because I found Akeem Madden, it's like I feel like I need to spend a little bit more time on this. Juan Cash. I'll put him on the board. I talked about like a veteran QB too. I have a lot of linebackers. Matt Priester, pocket passer. Edge setter. What else we got here? Another linebacker. Another linebacker. App State running back. There's only room for one App State running back on my channel, guys. So there's a route artist for you from Minnesota. LaRon Choice. And a quarterback. Nope, not interested in... Well, I mean... I can't say I'm not interested at all. But... I think that... Ozigbo is basically him. I should look for a more, not a young quarterback. I should look for a veteran quarterback. Matt Priester. I mean, it is a USC quarterback. I mean, he's not experienced, but he was good enough to go to USC. And that's a good enough reason to bring him in. All right. Yeah, that's fine. Matt Priester. Just getting a late offer. LaRon Choice. I think we'll offer him. I'm going to be cutting like... I feel like I'm actually going to cut like 5 to 10 players. Depending on how big this transfer class ends up being. And now I have 30 points and I think I'm about done. I think I'm happy with this season of recruiting. Now let's see where it all ends up. Yeah, I'm sure I have fine cut candidates and everything. All right, everybody. Recruiting is done for this season at last. We move on and see who is coming to Arkansas State. Jared Mafe at defensive tackle. We need to rebuild this defensive line. I'm going to the portal as I've done many times. 4-star wide receiver Rocky May, high school player. Gio Carney, another receiver who I expect to leave after a year because of his pro potential deal breaker. Ahmad Killings at quarterback. I think can develop. Adrian Rattler at tight end. Roland Emery at center. Khaled Wilkins at corner. Dontre Guyon at safety. Could be a starter immediately. Kenneth Agood. I feel like I added so many receivers and I wasn't making it a priority. Rashad Carver. We got Emmett Paul. Gerald Molds. Okay, we came from 3 to 1 on that one. Jimmy Mangum from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Anthony Sermon. Steve Monty. Percy Gallo at running back. Matt Priester, quarterback from USC. Man, I just want you to show me that one edge rusher, though. And they're not showing me, guys. We knew that was probably the case. They re-offered him in the last week? Really? Virginia Tech was the only other offer. Mizzou offered, pulled it, re-offered. Yeah, normal dev. Impact on Adrian Rattler, impact on Ahmad Killings, impact on Gio Carney, normal on Rocky May. Niles Macklin went to Ole Miss star dev. No. Where's my speedy, easy button? I got Roland Emery with normal dev. Jimmy Mangum, star at guard. Bro, we're going to fix that pass protection real nicely. Ahmad Rourke, we lost. Rashad Carver, impact. Emmett Paul, star. Super athletic, man. This is going to be exactly what we need to go into the SEC. Khaled Wilkins, Dontre Guyon, he's a star. Jared Mafe at D-tackle, star. Gerald Molds, probably a day one, like a starter. He's going to be a senior this next year. He'll probably start, replace Devin Noteboom. Dude, Darren Lincoln, star dev, man. I wanted Darren Lincoln. We didn't even finish in second place. Kenneth Agood, star. As a gadget. He could become anything. Sermon's impact. Monty, normal. Percy Callow, normal. Priester, impact. And Laron Choice. Actually did get a late offer from Iowa. Where are these late offers coming from? It used to, like, usually I'm pretty certain teams are not going to do that. I like that it's, like, a little more unpredictable, but it's like I thought I had it figured out, and I'm learning that I don't. You guys knew that already. Yeah, CPU's trolling hard. Like, what is that? Laron Choice. I scouted him like 2 minutes ago. And Iowa's like, oh yeah, us too. There might be a mole in our process. I think there's a double agent working for our program. But yeah, we got some really good players this year. And where'd Steven Katula go? Where'd he go? Will we ever see him again? Steven Katula, you are a Toledo Rocket. I love it. Welcome to the MAC, baby. Steven Katula is the most MAC running back I can even think of, too. 5'9", 223, slow. That's a MAC running back. You want to play time? He's running for 1,315. All right, guys, here's how we all graded out this year. We are 16th in the country with 14 four-star players. So we did finish above a lot of SEC teams. We certainly recruit at that level. But Tennessee, Texas, LSU, Oklahoma, Bama, Georgia. 6 SEC teams are above us in recruiting. For the American, you know, it just doesn't really compare. Rice tries, and I'm interested potentially in putting Rice on our schedule depending on what they look like, because they just lost a lot. Ohio State would be fun to fight over who should have kept Lincoln and Rourke. God, I wanted Lincoln, man. Kane will never unlock Elite Recruiter. Probably not in this series. By the time you get to Elite Recruiter, you, like, don't even need it. Where did Rice's safety end up? First of all, the best player, quarterback from LSU, goes to Alabama. I love that story. Alexander Hills leaves not just LSU, but his home state of Louisiana to go play for Bama. That's what college football is all about. And then James Ramirez, an SMU Mustang. From Rice to SMU. That is not a far move. That's Houston to Dallas-ish? Where is SMU again? Are they in one of the northern towns of Dallas? They play at University Park in suburban Dallas. So, at least he didn't have to go far. He went home. He did. Fort Worth. You like the barbecue scene more in Dallas? Maybe he's a Cowboy fan. He just couldn't stand it anymore. Maybe he wanted to go back to Texas Motor Speedway, which if you ever drove by that, it is huge. Absolutely colossal racetrack. As only Texas can do. All right, guys. Had to stay near Buc-ee's. I think that was the first Buc-ee's I ever went to, potentially, right near Texas Motor Speedway. Been to that one a couple times. Position changes, y'all. Got athletes this year? 4 of them. Alfonso Ahmad should be a linebacker. But let's see. They like Ahmad as a safety. Potentially. All right, let's take a look. Because he is 239 pounds, but he has the athleticism to play safety. Oh my God, terrifying. A 240-pound safety? I don't know if I can help myself. Wait, I need the player card. I'm missing a step here. Why can't I look at his player card? Does he cover? That's just it. I don't know. I have to go to the all page, I think, and sort by athlete. That was the old process. I don't know if he covers. He covers like a linebacker, though, guys. Darn. He's definitely a linebacker. Or, yeah. Pass rushing, not good enough. Coverage, not good enough. You, sir, are a linebacker. Not a running back. That's okay. I'm sure that... I don't know why he grades out better as a safety. I'm just putting him at Mike. Can we have a gadget player on defense? Adrian Rattler, we think is a tight end. He has that tight end speed at 82, 73 carrying, 76 catching. He can also tackle and he can hit. Yeah, he's a tight end. Or fullback. They like him more on defense. We're going to keep him on the offense. Athleticism is more valued for safety overall. Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. I just didn't think it would create such a gap. All right, now we have Robert Smith, a power rusher. Star dev, too. You got to make this one right. 81 speed, 80 acceleration. Certainly not like a dominant athlete, but passes. And then we got 73 power move, 80 pursuit, 76 tackling. Yeah, we're going to put him on the edge. Right side. And I'm going to back out because the way it sticks the menu there is annoying. Final athlete is Oliver Sanders, and a lot of times these guys you think are really good on the offensive line, they're even better on defense, but he has abilities tied to the offensive line. Center is a relatively thin position for us. His pass blocking is off to a good start. Like, all of his blocking is mid-70s. Yeah, his defense is actually really good. I still think I like the fit better at center, but D-tackle is right there. We just need more offensive linemen. Or he could be Joel Treggs. All right, so 4 quarterbacks, 1,000 running backs, 1 million more receivers. One left tackle. I gotta move a couple tackles over. Rashad Carver's going to the left side. And if you guys like it all even, we can make that happen too. Nathan Soliday's on that side. Randy Haslam, Dylan Boykins. We're going to move Leon Hennessy to that side. It should be safe to move guys now within their position group. Yeah, we're keeping those abilities just fine. That menu bug is eating at me right now. All right, left edge, right edge, perfectly even. Sam, Mike, Will. We're just going to move... I don't know if they develop any differently. Move Tiffin to edge. Some of these guys are multi-dimensional players. He has really good rushing if we wanted to try that. And plus, you'd get like that extra year, you know, he'd get to develop this offseason. Do we need it? Gerald Molds, Lorenzo Riggs, Kevin Blair has a standout power move. Andre Oladukin, Max Dorsey, Kofi Osgood. How do we want him to develop here? Ahmad Tiffin, 6'3", 217. Not a freak athlete, but he has good acceleration. He's strong. 80 block shed. I appreciate you stopping by, Deck. Have a good one. Keep him an off-ball blitzer. Yeah, I can always, like, manually sub him and use him in more ways. I just have to remember that Ahmad Tiffin is the one that can just do a ton of stuff. Imagine Brian Flores with Ahmad Tiffin. He'd have, like, 9 sacks. Emmett Paul, that was big. We got someone that's higher rated than Jolly prior to development. That's huge. One kicker, one punter. All right. There are going to be some cuts to make for sure. Save the game. You want me to even out safety? Would that be nice and balanced? I was gonna move Herring because, like, I like my free safeties to be better athletes. Tiffin is Van Ginkel. Oh, don't even get me started, man. I will play him immediately. We'll turn him into Andrew Van Ginkel. That's not bad. Yeah, the reason why Noah Herrick didn't upgrade any further is because he reached his cap like a long time prior, and he was just so good he kept banking points, and there was nothing I could do with it. Now I have... Nick Raines is suddenly an impact dev, guys. Been waiting for my cornerbacks to get better dev, and normal the impact here. All right. Who else? Cordell Herring to star. He was an All-American freshman, I think. Anybody else? No. All right. Training. The number one player on the team has changed. Keontae Bargava, who just got abilities upgraded. He gained a pound. He is now a junior. The moves, the hands, the route running. Bargava's nasty, guys. His deep accuracy. His pass blocking. Yeah, Bargava. Man. What would he be at running back? 91 at receiver. You know, in the SEC, you got to make the most out of your best players, and Bargava might need some looks at running back more than last year. Akeem Madden gets a small boost, but I think he's already one of the better tight ends in the entire game, and he just gained 3 pounds. Then we got Emmett Paul, one of the newcomers. Gerald Molds, one of the newcomers, to fortify our defense. DeMar Alba is up to an 89. Keontae Ruggins just got up to an 88. Devon Jolly will be an 88. Or 86 with a boost. Ron Best. Isaiah Harris up 11. Can you set SEC conference to 9 games since they're heading that way? That kind of makes sense because it's such a big conference. What do you guys think? 9-game SEC schedule? Gerald Ogletree is an 82. Matt Priester is a 77. And Chauncey, Missouri now a 74. Not a ton of overall movement, but Priester a little more agility, acceleration, change of direction. Unfortunately, Ogletree is just kind of staying the same. Unfortunate. I want a little bit more accuracy. We know he can miss some throws from time to time, especially on the sliders I'm playing on, which still have allowed him to complete like 65% of his passes. Normal dev is hurting his upside. All right, Keontae Ruggins, 88. Ron Best, now the number 2 on the team. Bradley Durham also gets a big boost, as does Joey Cologne. So I'm excited about Ruggins, and then I've been hyping up Best for a while. He did get a little bit faster this offseason. Dennybo might not get as much playing time if we're playing Ron Best, and then Bargava's even rotating in. Pretty deep at running back. And very happy with what we have at wide receiver with Bargava, Alba returning, Shembo. Let's see the route runnings. Really nice. Bargava, one of the better underneath route runners. Alba's really good all around, but better deep. And Shembo's well-rounded. Kenneth Agood. Kind of that gadget now developing behind Bargava. Route running might hold him back. Jalen Dwyer. That route running is awesome. Tight end, Akeem Madden. Got a little bit stronger. Even better route running. Didn't really improve his blocking. Leo Westerman did. So did Raheem Ismail. My goodness. 81 run blocking there is crazy. Platinum cutter for Dwyer. Yeah. So what's that one all about? I'm guessing just sharper cuts on... yeah, improved cut moves. I'm sure you can see the animations make a difference in that case. Ogletree not upgrading a lot will be good to maintain the deal breaker. Yep, still need to have a B playing style. Are you saying that if he was better, the deal breaker would go even higher? Yeah. Imagine if I had to do B plus and had it be more risky. I guess that's our silver lining. Thank you, Pac-Man. That's at least I can be in the range of what we need. Some guys have A plus deal breakers. Really? What's Bargava's? He's the best on our team. A minus. Oh no. Now we're not close enough to where he lives? Oh, go down a couple points. Go down. You can't leave. He wants to go to Bama. Yeah, he misses Stephen Harris. Why is Shembo still here? Shouldn't he have left with that pro potential deal breaker? Yeah, Barkava might go pro after this year, actually. We're going to have to see like where he stacks up with all the other receivers because he'll be one of the best. O-line. Nice upgrades here to pass protection for Soliday. But Carver has an edge in strength. It's significant. Awareness. Much more refined in the run game. And then we got Ivy up 9. Moves. That movement at 327 pounds. Not even human. How can't you run the ball? Like, he's not a good run blocker at 327. That athletic. Just, he can't go forward. He has to just pass pro. Weird player, but good player. Roland Emery at center. Nice pass protection oriented guy. And this year, I'm hoping we get better pass protection than a year ago. I think it has a chance to be improved with some returning players. And then these upgrades all seem to be pointing towards us hopefully having a little bit more time in the pocket. And Haslam getting a +8. And then Josh Casa a +6. And then we got, yeah, honestly, next offseason, y'all might have to remind me to move Marquise Ivy to tackle. Jimmy Mangum, +3. Gonna have to improve some of the finesse stuff. Not needing him to play immediately this season. 6'1" offensive tackle. Hope he has long arms. He's a weird player. Marquise Ivy's the weirdest player on this team. Gerald Molds, Kevin Blair get nice boosts. Molds is the new pass rusher who had a 7-sack season last year. He comes over. Where'd you play? Gerald Molds played for Missouri. Yeah, those ratings are nice. Good power. Kevin Blair might end up getting a good shot too. Andre Oladukin will play some. Kofi Osgood. Max Dorsey's one of the more well-rounded guys and has better awareness than Osgood. D-tackle. Jeffrey Brazil's going to play, and so is Jared Maffei. Maffei's got the finesse rushing. Brazil has the total package. But run stopping is not a strength of anybody but Steve Monty. So I think Monty's going to have to be that third guy over Doss. Linebackers now. Elliott Head, 80-man, 81 zone. I have so many linebackers. I'm just looking to see if someone takes off in the coverage department. You know, Dallas Brown has good zone. Tyree Figueroa has good zone. And then you've got... yeah, they're all getting to a pretty good spot. Isaiah Harris had the plus 11, though. What a colossal jump for him. Gained 4 pounds, got faster. Isaiah Harris went from a player that, you know, I don't think any of us really knew. And now he might be a starter. 99 pursuit, guys. 89 tackling. Yeah, as a sophomore. And then at cornerback, hey, Reigns with his depth trait boost ends up getting a nice +6. I think secondary is finally ready, you know, to hopefully take a good leap. Not great in man coverage, but Jolly's solid there. Better than solid. Emmett Paul's got 80. We got 2 really good athletes now on the outside. I think the secondary is just finally prepared for this competition. But look how veteran heavy this is. There is only 2 players that are under a junior, because I had recruited so many of these guys all at the same time, then basically took 2 years off of recruiting them, and now it's back as a need again. And then the safety situation, I think Dontre Guyon, the transfer, is going to start, replacing Braylon Wortham. Theo Booker got some really good development too. And then Cordell Herring, maybe. You know, he was an All-American freshman last year, but he just screwed up so many times. And then we had Ezekiel DeBeer and Steven Ricks. These were both 4-star players I brought in. And it looks like DeBeer got a little bit of a coverage boost. Neither one is probably slated to start quite yet. Jamie Finger, a little more accurate. Maybe that helps me. Vernon Randall's up to 82. And that's your team. We have our first, I don't know if he's our first, but a 90 overall player in Keontae Bargava. Yeah, Herring's athleticism really hurts. And sometimes he takes a bad angle. Other times he just wasn't making plays on the football when he was supposed to, and maybe that could be a little fluky. But there were like 5 plays, like 5 of our worst plays last year were him getting beat. He has no recovery speed. He's limited in playing cover 2 because he can't really cover the full width. All right, encouraging transfers, because we have a 93-man roster. All right. I think a couple cuts I can make right off the bat are at receiver. Considering we have a couple guys who are just not really going to play. I think we have like our top 5 all sorted out. Maybe only one cut here, but I think David Ivey goes. He's a senior, doesn't have a path with us. Gotta find a decent number though. Robert Ringo with that athleticism and all we have, and this isn't including Bargava. Definitely don't enjoy cutting linemen because you just can never have enough. All right, we got a couple guys down here. I think Timmy Durr is going to go. I have like 5 or 6 other edge rushers I'd rather be playing right now. Got a lot of D tackles though. Leo Ferris. I think we're going to let him go. We got 4 more. Right edge. Maybe Ben Bragg. He has such good acceleration, though, but just doesn't have a power or finesse move that stands out. All right, 3 more. I got a lot of cornerbacks here. Got a couple juniors here. Jamerson Sharp. Don't see him getting on the field this year. Just taking a look at how many juniors I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. And he's normal dev. 2 left. All right, so those are the more easy first wave cuts. I got to make 2 more tougher ones then. You do have a million running backs. I only have 7, not including Bargava. I need all of them. Oh, Denibo? I mean, he's a player who would make sense like, oh, I'm not getting on the field, I might as well leave. Standiford at guard? Yeah. One of the worst athletes on the team, too. Yeah, we can release Standiford. You want to give Odenibo a chance to finish his career elsewhere? Doss at D tackle. Yeah, I'm going to play Monty over him. I've tried to give a guy a chance before, and it hasn't always worked. He's a high-rated player, though, so he may catch on. And yeah, I guess he is 1 injury away from a higher workload. Oftentimes they do disappear, and cutting him for nothing would feel bad. I need these tight ends. That's a lot of defensive tackles, man. Normal dev, legend on Wenu. So he has 85 finesse, so I'm not cutting him. Like one of the first tough years for cuts. Yeah, Rosado has normal dev, and he's one of only 2 normal dev linebackers that I have. He's not a bad player, but I don't think he stands out enough as a run defender or in coverage. Picasso Rosado. We're going to cut him and get down to 85. All right, custom conferences. You guys know what's next. We've enjoyed our time in the Sun Belt, moved on to the American, and now it is time for us to level up again and take this team to the SEC, along with Arkansas. We have become the higher rated team. We have won the last 2 meetings in this little series. I cannot give us 9 games right now. Is there any reason? There's no protected opponents? Do I have to even it out? Is someone coming with us? Send Arkansas to the American? Yeah, they're demoted now. You know, I could take out one of the lower rated teams. You know, South Carolina and Vandy are on the lower end. Could always take out Vandy. Notre Dame just wouldn't be right in the SEC. They got to go Big Ten if they join somebody. Bring Clemson or Miami. Clemson's 4. Miami's 7. The ACC is really downgraded here in this series. There are just a couple teams now at the top. Tulane? They're 3-9 this last year. I don't know if they're good enough on paper. I put Vandy in the American. I'm trying to get to 9 games. USF. Tulane was an original member. Tulane has more SEC titles than Arkansas. Is that so? When did Tulane compete in the SEC? Yeah, they were there in the SEC in the 30s. Up until in the 60s, they went independent. Why was Tulane independent for like 30 years? And what'd they get out of it? That's funny. They were getting destroyed every year in the SEC, guys. For most of their history. Yeah, Rice has recruited pretty well. Better than most teams that are kind of in our situation. I wouldn't mind bringing in Rice. You know, when we moved to the American, we brought App State with us. Rice, to me, has been the most intriguing because of their recruiting. They have a weird offense. I don't feel like breaking up the ACC. If Texas can get in, Rice can get in. So, that gives the SEC a very solid 18 teams. We can now give them 9 conference games. How come there were no protected opponents? Aren't there usually a good deal of protected opponents? I want ours to be Arkansas. Alabama has Auburn, as they should. Oklahoma has Texas. Ole Miss has Mississippi State. I don't know who we give Rice. They have A&M. I don't think that's bad. Who does LSU have? Kentucky. So Florida has Georgia. Rice in the SEC is wild. They're not like the worst team on paper, though, in the SEC. Who's going to be last this year? Flip Kentucky and A&M. I kind of like Rice facing at least an in-state opponent. Ark State will be last. No faith. Make it too protected. I'm okay with the way it's set up now. I think this is set up pretty decently, honestly. And plus you get 9 games versus 8. 1 is just fine, guys. Division's off. Conference games 9. Especially for how many teams are in here. I think 9 works well. And then this is our new home, guys. Welcome to the SEC. Arkansas State has made the move. I think we are just about ready. I don't like doing divisions because I think it screws with the schedule more, and you end up facing a lot of the same teams every year, and there are many teams that you don't get to see. So when conferences get more than like 12 to 14, like divisions just don't really work that well. Time to be the most mid team in the SEC. Guys, we have a 3-year horizon here where we're joining. We have Gerald Ogletree as a sophomore. We're trying to hopefully, by the end of his career, be competing for a championship. SEC title, college football playoff title. So even if we're mid this year, we got to see where we stack up. Time to go 8-5 and be ranked 11th in the country. '94 overall on paper. I'm happy for you to feed my Gators some W's. We're coming for the SEC with a low 80s quarterback who hasn't improved in 2 years. I mean, development-wise, that is it as fact. But everything around him has gotten better. I'm starting to think I'm the biggest and maybe only Gerald Ogletree fan here. Now, with a tougher schedule, how will this all look? Yeah, we're a 94 overall team. I wanted to compare a little bit. You know, the top of the roster doesn't look so different from Arkansas. They actually are 18 in the preseason. Interesting, because they've been terrible for a couple of years. Bama is crazy, obviously. Auburn, If we play them, I think it'd be a really good game. It's a good matchup anyway. Florida. That'd be tough. And the reason why I'm in the SEC now is so I can play better teams more often and be a little more playoff prepared. I'm 0-3 in the playoffs in this series. LSU. 99 defense. Wouldn't mind if they're not on our schedule this year. Oklahoma, 99 offense. All right. Would rather not play them. But there's no hiding now. We're in the SEC, guys. I hope they give us a good mix of teams on our schedule. Like, I hope we're facing kind of all the different tiers within. Something I do every few years is look at the bottom of the conference and move them and bring in a top team from a top conference, so not repetitive. Yeah, I think that's a great idea because I think that, you know, the CPU building a bad team in the SEC is incredibly unlikely. So cycling some of those teams out, especially when you're 4+ years into a dynasty, makes a lot of sense. South Carolina back guys are 71 now. They're 71. Tennessee's a 91. Longhorns are a 94. We're 1-0 against Texas. The Aggies, 79. Vandy. I hope we play Vandy this year. Genuinely hope we play them. All right. I also wanted to see at receiver the top guys because, you know, I wonder how likely it is that we see Bargava go pro. Now, there are a lot of players here getting boosts, so there's a lot of rating manipulation going on. He's right here at 91. He's a true 91. So he's higher than all these 90s and 88s that are getting boosted. But there are some 92s and other 91s. Even some 3s and a 4, 5. So you got examples here of like John McGarrigle, who played until his senior year. A few others have played to their redshirt senior year. Hopefully he's one of those guys. Kane said he wants to smoke this year and proceeds to ask for Vandy. I got 9 games, all right? I would like some of them to be friendlier. Here's our schedule, all right? We're going to play our SEC opener against Arkansas. And then, at least we're home against Florida, Texas. We go at Mississippi State, at Ole Miss, home against Bama, ULM again. I can't do anything about it. Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina is our finale. We close against one of the worst teams in the SEC. So, record-wise for our opponents, Arkansas went 8-5 last year. Florida went 10-3. Texas went 11-3. Mississippi State went 7-6. Ole Miss went 7-6. Bama went 10-3. Georgia went 10-3. Tennessee went 8-5. And South Carolina 2-10. So I do think that our week 1 game will probably be an easier opponent. Maybe one of these games is like an American Conference goodbye type of game. I know Boise State was a team I wanted to play, but there are plenty of ranked teams now on the schedule. Just in the SEC, we currently have 5. Oh, that's the kickoff game. Is this one that's scheduled in real life? Or do they just happen to throw us into that one? I want to see Toledo. Could we face Steven Catula? He's their second best player. You bet Steven Catula is going to be playing. KC Grimes. I'll play Tulane. Or Toledo. Holy Toledo. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3 straight home games there. 4, 5. That would have to be a home game. You want to leave Pitt? It's the kickoff game. You know, we're a higher tier team now. They're scheduling us for some of these tougher games. I don't mind it. Leave Pitt. Let's see what Pitt looks like. I always like having spending less time creating the schedule. And it's a neutral. Steven Catula going for 235 on 46 carries. You're out of control. Brian Gizzy is at wide receiver for the Pitt Panthers. Tobias Lamour. Lester Kuti, receiver. This is a pretty nice matchup, you know. A little even right out the gate. Jimmy Burt. What you know about Jimmy Burt? Indianapolis, Indiana. Grew up watching Peyton Manning. Although, are we now at the stage where he wouldn't be growing up watching Peyton Manning? He would have grown up watching Andrew Luck and Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers. He grew up watching Anthony Richardson for like 6 games? That was a short childhood. There he was when Anthony Richardson tapped out for a breather. God, the NFL is incredible. Grew up watching Daniel Jones. Daniel Bauman's on that roster. There he is. Minneapolis, Minnesota. And he is RB2. What I usually do is go to the depth chart so I can see who they're actually playing, because they do a lot of stuff at like slot and third down back that would surprise you. Sometimes it's like a 4th receiver who just grades out as their best slot. They're both backfield threats, so I'm guessing Irvin gets most of the work. Might see Bauman. Might. Nick Jones. 5'6" receiver in the slot. Yeah, he's their 4th. Yeah, he was a big Sam Ehlinger fan. How many games did Sam Ehlinger play for the Colts? Yeah, he was actually there watching Riley Leonard's first career start yesterday. And that's what made him a Colts fan. Sam Ehlinger has played in 7 games. He has not started 7 games. He's started like 2. To be honest, I didn't even know he was in the NFL still. He was activated to the Broncos roster yesterday. Sean Payton gets attached to like the weirdest players, and they're just like, sometimes it's guys that follow him and they're just there for years, like Lil Jordan Humphrey. Sean Payton, certified Texas guy. All right, y'all want some caps? I can give you some caps. I think Sean Payton's doing a great job, but he's like me, where he gets attached to certain players that he like, Taysom Hill's a prime example. All right, Ahmad Killings at quarterback, guys. Cap time. That playing time deal breaker is probably not going to bode well for us. Accuracy is not bad. He has enough throw power already. I would say these caps are perfectly reasonable. But playing time, he only needs a C+. Would it have been better for me to cut Missouri because he'd be QB3 then? All right, Matt Priester's here, though. And accuracy, it has a bit of a cap, but he can definitely become a starting caliber quarterback. Let's see how all the accuracies compare here. Right now, Priester, 1 less short than Ogletree, 5 less medium, 5 less deep. Chauncey, Missouri actually has the same short and medium, but 10 less deep. And then Killings is an entire work in progress. Yeah, y'all want some music again? The playlist keeps ending. At running back, the most important position that determines your future success, Percy Callow. Sophomore, normal dev. He's already an 80, so we'll see if he can develop a little bit more and become a future grinder in the backfield there. I do think J.R. Battle's a pretty good comp for Priester. Accurate pocket passer, but no standout traits. Kind of average height. All right, we got some receivers, though. Christian Fine with impact development. Let's hope he's more than fine. Those caps are awesome. That's your DeMar Alba long-term replacement. Iosefa Asiasi. Impact physical route runner. Not going to get much faster. But route running is uncapped, and that's what's important. We'll also check out Kenneth Agood. We're hoping he can be a good receiver on this team. He is fast and uncapped quickness. He could become even faster. Uncapped route running. Yeah. I think post Bargava, we are just fine. Hey, to be fair, y'all were making that joke an hour ago way before I ever did. Rocky May, normal dev. Bad quickness cap. The normal dev probably holds him back more than anything, and he's a 73. So we'll have to see how much he develops next year, and that'll determine how long he stays on the roster, potentially. And then I did Asiasi already. He had good route running upside. Gio Carney, I think, is gone after 1 year. And good riddance. His caps are terrible. No. His caps are bad, so we'll see. Limited upside there for a 65. Tight end Adrian Rattler. 64 overall. Not much of a blocker. He just has a lot of developing to do. He's got the caps to, you know, get a lot better. He has impact dev. All right, Leon Hennessy, normal dev tackle. So at least he has that good starting overall. And his caps are fine. Let's see if he reaches it. And then Carl Riggs. Star dev, 3-star player. But his caps are limited on pass blocking, and that's where his weakness is. So he's going to have to make his money in the run game. Rough combination. Face cam is like half a second ahead. Let me see if this fixes it. Is that any better? Ollie Sanders. Impact dev, 4-star. Pass blocking, unlimited upside. We can live with this. Rattler's caps scream receiver to me. Not athletic enough, though. All right, I did not add a lot of edge rushers, so here's Robert Smith. Star dev, 70 overall, 3-star with really solid caps. Yeah, we like that. 3-star gems are some of the best players I've found in this game. All right, let's take a look here at Steve Monty, who came over in the portal. Normal dev. And yeah, limited in some areas. But if his run stopping gets better, that's all we really care about and has good upside. And then we got Alfred Heaney. Star dev, 4-star. The pass rushing is a little concerning there, but it's already an 83. You know, it could probably get to the 90s, we'd hope. Run stopping is uncapped, so just work on that. Mangum? Yeah, I gotta keep in mind some of these transfers. All right, so this is Jimmy Mangum, who transferred over from Wisconsin. 4-star and unlimited run blocking. Yeah, these are awesome caps. Just struggles a bit with the finesse. Am I running a rotation on the D-line? Yeah, that'll be the plan, to see who ultimately is the best, because this will be the most inexperienced defensive line I've played with. I think I know who's going to be my focus, but I'm going to have to give a lot of guys chances. Mafe? He's a junior, so I don't anticipate much more growth. But he has star dev, and if he has a productive year, you know, there's upside still in the run game where we definitely need guys to grow. We need a true run defender for sure. All right, linebackers. We have a ton. Jamerson Traore. This is a 4-star impact dev player, and the caps are like, there's like nothing. Very high ceiling player. Alfonso Ahmad, though, star dev. Can we get that star dev to coincide with excellent caps? These are pretty good. Run stopping's uncapped. High ceiling. Reggie Carter knows how to find them, guys. Marvin Kelmalat. Impact dev. He has a brand exposure deal breaker. Like, no one has that. He has really good caps. So yeah, I just, we're hoarding linebackers and seeing who pops. Isaiah Harris took the huge leap this year, so I think we should check him again because he just went up plus 11. And there's still room with coverage, but his run stopping is at max. His quickness is at max. We'll see if he gets any better, but he's an 87 now. Ahmad Tiffin, he's like the most well-rounded that we've seen. And his caps are, pretty decent. He can get good in every area, and he's one of our best pass rushing linebackers and should be a player that I find unique ways to use. And now at cornerback. I don't really have much for youth here. Not right now. Randall Lyles, though, I picked him up, a 4-star with Star Dev. So we're hoping that we can develop our own shutdown corner. And Lyles, uncapped man, lower, 3 crossed off on zone. Definitely not bad. You want to see Paul? Star Dev, 4-star. And yeah, if he's really good this year, there's still room for him to get even better. Safety. So I picked up Dontre Guyon in the portal. Star Dev 83. He's approaching his caps, so I'm guessing like 83 to 86 is kind of his ceiling. And Anthony Sermon also came over. He's pretty capped out, so we haven't run into many of those players. Sammy Bin. Impact. Not the best caps here at all. Yeah. That makes him more of a cut candidate. Safety is not being nearly as kind. But we do have some returning guys who had, were at least 4-star players. These Ezekiel DeBeer caps are really good, but it's on a normal dev player. So you'd love for, I almost wonder if having one of them as our third safety, just picking one, he's the third safety, a role that ends up playing a decent bit with us. Like we saw with Cordell Herring, if you become a freshman All-American, you can get a dev trait boost. And it's like, if you're at normal, you kind of need it. Any cornerbacks that could play safety? I would say Bernard Proctor is the best fit for that. Has more physicality than most of our corners. Not good in press coverage, so better maybe back there anyway. Yeah, Proctor would not be a bad position swap candidate. Let's see what the depth chart algorithm says. Yeah, last year we had to move a safety to corner, CJ Bass. They got Nick Raines. They like Raines. They got Proctor in this cluster of high 70s. It's just hard to survive at safety if you're not physical enough. 61 hit power, 69 tackling. I just really wouldn't consider it. Unless you're like in a deep only role, then you have to hide things, and that's never fun to hide skills like that. But I mean, if I'm playing a guy at slot, I should be willing to play him at safety because you need physicality to play slot too, and Raines was in that role last year. I wanted to see a rating on Reigns because I've seen a handful of times lately we're having our guys bite badly on play action. 78 is his play rec. I saw it in the USF game, and I saw it in the USC game. Their play action was kind of killing us over the middle. And it makes me kind of want to run a little bit more play action in certain spots where we can maybe get some of those intermediate throws. Because guys do bite. They do react to the run action. And I think it's going to be a rating I have to take into account when I'm choosing who plays at linebacker this year. So play rec is kind of your play action awareness slider on defense, or your rating. So Isaiah Harris is in a good spot. Calvin Folk is in the best. Dallas Browns wasn't bad. And I think the slot corner, you also want to keep that in mind. You know, the outside guys aren't really going to bite on that stuff, but the slot sometimes is in position to where they can get killed up the seam, and it happened a couple times with Reigns. I've been watching a little bit of the playoffs. I don't watch college football as heavily as I watch NFL, but I had the games on in the background the other day, and I'm kind of a fan of the way the Final Four has shaped up. I think it's setting up for a pretty fun title game regardless. I guess I like, Indiana's this team that's popped up the last couple of years, and it's, fun seeing them go through Ohio State and go through Alabama. So I'd like to see them go all the way. I wouldn't mind like an Indiana-Miami final, although Ole Miss and their comeback and the way they played. Excellent game from their quarterback there, Chambliss. So I wanted to... I don't really care who comes out of that side of the bracket. Miami's one of those teams, though, where it's like, even though I don't watch a lot of college football, I kind of know not to trust them. That and Ole Miss kind of got screwed over, with the whole Lane Kiffin situation, and now more assistants are leaving, so it'd be cool to see Ole Miss kind of stick it to them there. College basketball? Not really. I don't really watch the tournament either. Sometimes I'll have it on as like background noise, but not much. All right, guys, I should be wrapping up here soon, but I would not mind a quick glance at the recruiting board. I have been live here for over 3 hours. That recruiting took a lot of time. But at the very least, I wanted to jump in and take a look at if any 5 stars are showing immediate interest. And right off the bat here, we can see that is the case. A lot of 5 stars have us in their top 8. And there's even at least one player with us as their top school. Tremon Hendricks at linebacker. Of course, it was going to be linebacker. Any quarterbacks? Hudson Banks. We'll put him on the board. How about a 4? Nobody above a 6. We'll put a couple quarterbacks here on the board. Looking at our pipeline states primarily. Number 1 player has you 8th. I think we have to at least put him on the board then. We'll go for him. A tight end, potentially, from Illinois has us number 8. That's how far we've come in this series. Looking at pipeline states primarily. Of course, a box specialist. Why is it always a box specialist? I don't know if I want to put too many 5s on the board, though, because realistically, I'm not going to get more than a couple if I get any. I need to get kind of a start on the 4 stars, too. The number 1 4-star player. A linebacker. Coverage specialist. Ooh, 3rd here for a center. Yeah, we're going to need some more young edge rushers. I don't want to be panicking in the portal every year. Edge setter is not an archetype I like much, though. Are 4-star edge setters worth looking at? Give me an athlete. Give me a corner. Give me that edge rusher. Bradley Redfield, Chris's brother. Edge setter again, though. I just think it's the worst archetype in the game. I wouldn't even let them walk on if EA allowed it. That's how bad they are, guys. I have 4 linebackers already on the board. Let's see. Running backs. Got 3 edges. I need D tackles. Walter Warren. I need a gap specialist. Let me throw a guard on the board. Maybe 3. Hey Hurricane, if this year's draft was redone today, who do you think would go first overall, or do you think the Titans would still go with Cam Ward? I feel like the Titans aren't feeling any sort of buyer's remorse there. You know, the team is just really bad, and even then, Cam has been able to show glimpses here or there, but it's just, I don't think that Jackson Dart would look better. If you're going to do something different, you know, you'd probably just go get a defensive player or a different position entirely. It's just, I don't think that there's... I thought, you know, not like I watched a lot of full Titans games this year, but it's just kind of one of those years where you just got to survive it to the end without looking like a complete dumpster fire as a quarterback. And I think Cam accomplished that. he was still making plays, and I mean, that receiving core is just in rough shape, but you know, I think they might have something there with DK at wide receiver. There's just so much more to do. They're going to be a busy team this offseason. Who drafts Ruben Bain? You know, a podcast I was listening to said that like a lot of teams, like the grades on him will probably vary wildly because he's not going to meet a lot of thresholds teams have for arm length and prototypical size and everything. So I imagine he still goes very early, but you know, if a couple teams don't end up taking him, there is probably fall potential. Yeah, I hope Iron Manor works out for them as well. There's just nothing on that team that can elevate, you know, the play around them. And honestly, I felt more than anything like Cam actually was trying to do that, dragging that team, you know, as much as he could as a rookie quarterback thrust into an awful situation. Now, I'm not sure we really have to do a lot of scouting here on all these players, but we certainly will be. We got a lot of points. Got to see who the gems are, right? Torrey Jackson. That linebacker. Hudson Banks looks pretty good. .84 speed, 84 throw power. I just don't think that's an intriguing enough combination there. Because 84 speed's fine at quarterback, but 84 throw power really isn't. And 84 speed isn't really intriguing anywhere else but like tight end. .86, a little bit better throw power, but still not ideal, and that's not really a lot of speed. Probably a tight end there. Number 1 player, Tyler Robbins. I want to make sure I prioritize some of the defensive guys that they get scouted now. Walter Warren. I haven't offered any scholarships yet. Whoops. Gap specialist. You know, you're not getting much pass rush there. You are getting pass rush here, but not much run stopping. So it's always good to have at least one guy that stands out in that department. Do we have a good start for Garcia? We're in 4th, so I'll offer him one. But I don't think that's a role where I'd like try to put a guy on the board who has a bunch of other offers and I got to fight so hard. Like, I'm probably going to go and find the easier to obtain run stoppers. As long as I can get that archetype, it doesn't have to be the best guy within the archetype. Edge setter. Never scouting another one. Power rusher with 75 power, 80 finesse moves. Yep. That's an intriguing player. Let me go corner. Looking good there. 86 speed. Everything else is all right. No gem. Might be a safety. '91 medium route running, 88 speed, 93 acceleration. Here's the #1 receiver. Dante Mixon, 88 speed, 92 acceleration. North and south elusive bruiser. Let's scout Crumpler because he's an east-west playmaker. That looks good. We'll scout Podlesny because we're already on his board. 77 speed, not a gem, 91 throw power. At this point, we need a quarterback who's going to for sure develop, and 77 speed does not make you intriguing elsewhere. I think I'm actually taking him off the board. I might have to add more quarterbacks to the board. Here's LaMarcus Ellis. Not a quarterback I'd like go all in for as a 5-star. Scout some linemen now. That looks really good. These are 5-star linemen, so there's like no way for them to look bad. We're not getting many gems though. There we go, and it's a well-rounded player too. That's going to make Joey Gage one of my main targets. Not much of a run blocker here, but we're #2 on his board, and he's a 4-star. So we'll see. That's more like it. #1 center, John Arma. '68 speed edge? No. That's crazy. You got one from Target there, Remy? All right, I haven't been scouting these linebackers. They're the ones who are picking us. All right. Got to make sure Torrey Jackson has an offer. Coverage specialist here. Give me a gem right here. If I could pull a gem, that's still a really good player. Ooh. These are a lot more fun safeties to look into. Yeah. That's 18 scholarships handed out. Are you doing practice this stream? I don't think I'm going to make practice this time. I definitely need to be getting off here in a moment. But this has been a fun off season, guys. We have taken this team into the SEC for the next step of our journey. Didn't make a lot of changes on offense, so I don't think there's a whole lot we need to see there. I'm not even sure it'd be interesting enough for a separate practice stream. Although it is fun to stream with y'all. What my favorite series I've ever done? You know, I really enjoyed the Broncos franchise. I think once I get some distance from a series, it definitely helps seeing which one has more staying power. Like the Broncos in conjunction with Kalispell, like those two working hand in hand, going 10 plus years. It's like that. I haven't really topped, I think, that experience. I think like the videos I'm making now are better, but like just that series as a whole is probably the best. It was, you know, a culmination of 2 series in one, and all the work that Blackjack did. So it was the most unique franchise, especially if you watched Kalispell first. Yeah, I think I want to call it there, guys. I had a lot of fun here, man. Does not feel like I've been live for 3.5 hours. I think half of that was probably spent doing the off-season recruiting, which the portal made us really grind today, and we still missed out on one of the players I wanted most. We have Ole Miss on the schedule, don't we? I gotta check one more thing. Where is that edge rusher? Was it? Well, they got Nico Gooch. He's Ohio State. You go there to be 3rd string, Darren. Darren Lincoln. Wearing a tackle number. 95 finesse moves. Darren Lincoln should have been on our team. Come on, man. That's okay. We got ourselves a pretty good roster to take into the SEC this year. Our first season in the conference. I think we're ready. You know, we'll see about, you know, competing for a conference championship. Where are we on that path? But I think we got some time now to see where we are, where we belong in this conference, and then how do we get to that, whatever the next level. You know, I'm hoping that within a few years we can compete for a title. That's the plan. The college football playoff title and the SEC title. But I know that the conference schedule, man, is going to be pretty relentless. So I'll have the recap video coming soon where I might get some practice gameplay in there. We'll see what else I stuff into it. We're going to open against Pitt, though, in the Aflac kickoff game. We'll then take on Toledo as our tune-up. We'll face Steven Katula, our running back who transferred away, who was, like a fifth-string running back, and now he's their starter. And then, welcome to the big leagues. Arkansas, Florida, Texas. Then you got the tour in Mississippi, Bama, ULM is a tune-up game late. I couldn't take that off. Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, worst team in the conference, arguably, is who we closed the season against. And we'll see what that game ultimately means for us. If it's a game that, carries much weight. I don't know how tough this is going to be. I think we have to show that we're still a team that's guaranteed to be in a bowl game now that we're here. I'm sure hoping that we're in a bowl game. It'd be a colossal failure if we're not. But that is going to do it today, everybody. Thank you all for coming to the off season. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also, leaving a like on the video would also be very helpful. Another fun one in the books. I want to know how many times you've done this. How many off-season streams have we done? Because this is one of my favorite things we do here on the channels. Y'all have a great night. And I will see you all again soon. We're on to our next season here very shortly. Year 6 is coming up next. And I'll see you all then. Good night.